By the name's Robert Kawuki. I am a staff of NARO and I'm based with the Cassava program here at Namlonge. My training is in plant breeding, and basically within plant breeding the task we have is to develop varieties that satisfy customers, and the customers can fall into producers, processors or consumers. And this journey dates back since the 1860s when cassava was first introduced into Uganda. And that was the reign of Kawuki I, who fronted that he wanted his people to be food secure. And by then, cassava was one handy crop. And during that time, he really pioneered the introduction, the adaptation and the promotion of cassava within Buganda, and from Buganda, cassava spread to the eastern part of the country, and from the eastern part of the country it went to the northern region. And ideally, the promotion was that cassava for households should be secure in terms of food, and cassava is one crop that does provide that service of ensuring that food is available, mainly because you can have piecemeal harvesting, and also in that within a year you can harvest it at different times. And also because it's not that labor intensive, and it's a crop that is drought tolerant. But the picture has evolved since the 1800s until today. So cassava has shifted from being only a food crop to evolving to becoming a cash crop. You must have noticed that as your journey you came here, in most markets now cassava is there as a fresh product and also as a processed product. So that is the journey that cassava has had until now. But importantly is that research has been a major driver in sustaining the productivity of cassava. Globally, cassava is a major player in Latin America and Asia. And basically there, it provides both feed and feed. Within Uganda, we don't differ much from that. Ideally, in the early decades, it was basically a food crop. But it has evolved from being only a food crop to becoming an industrial and cash crop. And as of now, we can say that cumulatively cassava is grown on over 800,000 hectares across the country. And that in terms of family sizes, in terms of acreage of cassava across the country, you can have farms that have less than an acre, and you can find farms that are on over 300 acres. And all this is happening because of the demand that is either for food or for industry. So we can say right now that the picture of cassava has transformed a lot because of the increasing demand for food and also the increasing demand for income. And in fact, cassava features prominently in the major strategic crops of the country as a driver for increasing household income and reducing food security. That's why cassava ranks very high among the strategic crops in the country. And also that's why NARO has put a lot of research effort into cassava because of the major role it does. The current picture is that the bulk of production is in the eastern and the northern bit. Yeah. And but the consumers of cassava are countrywide. And this is the picture. You realize that in the central bit, people take cassava as boiled or fried predominantly. People in the east take cassava as flour or boiled. People in the north take it as flour or boiled. People in West Nile ferment it. And ideally is that those typologies reflect on the culture settings of those countries and of those regions. And We use that to design our research, and that's why we have seen that as NARO, we have released you see, we began with NACE 1 in the 1990s, NACE 2, NACE 3, NACE 4, NACE 5, NACE 6, NACE 7, NACE 8, NACE 9, NACE 10, NACE 11, NACE 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. And then in 2015, we brought out NARO Cas 1 and NARO Cas 2. And what we can say is that among the varieties that we have released, we can see that NARO Cas 1 and NACE 14 occupy a significant market share across the country, mainly because end users prefer those varieties because they satisfy their requirements either for flour or for the boiled or for the brewing that is done. Yeah, so that's the kind of picture that we have. And you know, always we have to replace. And we replace because something has become obsolete or something has become inferior. Just like we can compare in human health, the malaria therapies that we had in the 1970s are very different from the malaria therapies that we have today because of evolution of stresses. So even plants have diseases. Now the cassava that you see here, when you plant it, in the 12 months before it matures, several diseases can affect it. Okay? So the task we have in research is to ensure that during the 12 months of growth, the diseases don't impact on it. When it is very dry, the drought doesn't impact on it. So the varieties that we release, we try to release varieties that are resilient during the 12 months of growth, but also importantly that the products from the cassava, whether the boiled root or the flour or the fried root, is appealing to you, is tested to you, such that you learn more for it. But also importantly, we want to release varieties that meet four criteria. One, we want to meet a variety that is legitimate, in a sense that NARO has a major stake in that variety, okay? That NARO will feel proud of that variety. We want to release a variety that is credible, that once you release it, people, customers, will trust that if NARO has released something, it's credible. Then thirdly, we want to release a variety that is socially approved, okay? If something is socially approved, it disseminates, okay? And fourthly, we want to release a variety that causes debate. So, like you came here talking about NARO Cas 1, we're very happy because we knew that they're talking about NARO Cas 1, okay? So those four criteria are at the heart of our research. We want to release varieties that are legitimate, that are credible, that are socially approved, and that cause debate. They are talked about in the market. I want that variety, I want that variety, I want that variety. It tastes very good. So those are the principles that guide our research before we release this variety. And I thank you for today for coming to kind of take an account of the 3 new varieties that we applied for official release. And as of now, they're not yet officially released, and that's why in terms of coding them, we're coding them as UG12 0193, UG12 0156, and Mukumba. These varieties have been bred with green hands, such that they are resilient to stresses in the field, and also such that the product of them is desired by customers. So these varieties we have been evaluating these varieties since 2012, and in terms of evaluation, we don't do this alone, but we do together with farmers in the different parts of the country, in the eastern, in the northern, in the central, in the western part. And in the end, from that exercise, we narrow down on these 3 varieties that we are planning to officially release. And of course, we know that at a time of release, people are going to ask for seed. So we have a pre-plan for what we call like a pre-launch plan, whereby we try to bulk some of this planting material. We can bulk in the field, but also we can bulk in the laboratories using some innovations that bring scale. Because cassava causes public excitement almost in every market, in the central Uganda, in the central region, every market, in the eastern region, every market, in the northern region, you'll have cassava there, for those who don't have gardens. Now, for farmers, each farmer in those regions, you realize that they have a small piece of cassava. So what we can say is that the over 150 years of cassava's cultivation in Uganda, it has an inbuilt local market. Yes. But what we have to do always is to provide promotional messages on optimal production, on safe use, and management, such that its profitability still remains high. Cassava that is mainly exported is in the flour form, and this normally happens with Western Kenya. It happens in Congo, okay? It happens with South Sudan. So it is basically the cassava flour that finds its exchange between border countries, that is South Sudan, in Congo, and then in Western Kenya, but as flour, not as fresh. To design a new variety, we begin with the customer. That what do the customers want? So that's where at times we deploy teams that go in markets, teams that go in the different parts of the country, and we get user feedback. So often the users put their attributes. We want cassava that in the field has got these attributes. We want cassava in the field has got, or when you boil it, has got these attributes. It is sweet, it is high yielding, it is mealy, it has got aroma. So once we get those attributes from farmers, then we now assemble a team that is going to appraise these attributes. These attributes can be like 40.